We know that members of the school community at Victorian independent schools would like to understand how their school receives government funding. It is a complex process, so ISV has created this video to explain it. Independent schools receive funding from both the Victorian and the Australian governments. We will leave the Victorian government funding for another day and instead look at how the Australian government funds independent schools. The Australian government determines a school's funding allocation through the Schooling Resource Standard, or SRS. This is a yearly estimate of the public funds required by a school to meet the basic educational needs of all students. It's made up of a base amount with additional funding provided for specific student and educational needs. The combination of these amounts is a school's unique funding entitlement. How the Australian government works out each school's unique funding entitlement is like a school ordering a pancake stack. But what's different is that the Australian government makes a stack for each school. So let's take a closer look at how the SRS is used to create a school's unique funding entitlement pancake stack. The bottom pancake is the funding a school receives based on how many students it has and their parents' financial capacity to contribute to school funding. For example, the more students a school has, the bigger it is. Other needs-based pancakes, expressed as percentages of the SRS, are then stacked on top of the base funding. These are for students with disabilities, socio-economic disadvantage, smaller and remote schools, Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders, and students with non-English language backgrounds. The size and how many are on a stack differ for each school, depending on the information the Australian government has about their students. Government schools are entitled to full base funding to achieve their SRS, while independent schools are only entitled to receive partial base funding. This simple formula summarises what we have talked about so far to help you remember how the Australian government funds schools. Making the school funding pancake stack is more complicated for independent schools. How much base funding an independent school receives is linked to its community's capacity to fund school activities. This means independent schools will always have smaller base funding than government schools. How big a school's base funding pancake is depends on its capacity to contribute, or CTC score. It's a measure of a school community's capacity to fund the ongoing costs of running an independent school. The CTC uses the Direct Measure of Income method, or DMI, to create the score by matching student and parent data supplied by a school against the personal income tax data of the same parents. It replaces the previous Socio-Economic Status Funding System, or SES. The Australian government uses other methods to generate a DMI score when schools do not have enough information for a normal calculation. Once calculated, the DMI score is used to apply the CTC discount to a school's base funding allocation. A higher capacity to contribute for an independent school leads to less funding. The Australian government then adds the smaller base funding pancake to a school's additional funding to create its unique funding entitlement pancake stack. Once a school's unique funding entitlement has been calculated, the Australian government removes a slice from the funding stack, as they expect funding shortfalls for independent schools to be met by state and territory governments and parents. With the introduction of DMI scores, every independent school is now transitioning to receive 80% of their SRS from the Australian government. All independent schools will arrive at the same funding arrangement by 2029. If your school is unsure about its funding entitlement, please contact Independent Schools Victoria and let us know.